Do you want to get a university degree from an English-speaking university somewhere in the world? Do you wonder how you could possibly be successful at reaching this goal? Well, today I have a special treat for you. In this video, I interviewed Dr. Linh Phung. Dr. Linh Phung is the director of Eduling International Academy. She also has been an English teacher and lecturer for university here in the United States. So, in this interview today, you will hear a lot of great advice about how to be successful learning English and adapting to the American culture. The advice that Dr. Linh Phung shares in this video is very helpful, and I hope that you will listen to her years of experience and practical ideas so that you too can get that advantage to get a university education in English. So let's go ahead and jump into our interview together with Dr. Linh Phung. Could you first tell us a little bit about your career in the United States?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Dr. Linh Phung, as introduced, and I have been teaching English at a university here in the US for over 10 years now. And I also have different projects in English learning and teaching. So for example, I have an online international academy that offers English classes to students from any place in the world.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Do you focus on any particular demographic of students?
So at the university, I teach college-age students, right? Students come here to study abroad. But with Eduling, I have classes for middle school students, high school students, as well as adults. I have classes that use the US curriculum here, and I have test preparation courses such as IELTS. I also offer writing courses for young learners, and I hope to offer a pronunciation class because I really hope to help students with their pronunciation.
That's great. Wow, that's great. And you have a great background, a good story. You work here in the United States for quite a long time. You lived here. You have family here now. Can you tell us a little bit more about your backstory, though?
Yeah, sure. So I often tell people that education and English take me places because English and education took me all the way from the countryside in Vietnam to the US as a graduate student about 15 years ago. And then I came to the US to do my master's degree in teaching English. And then I met my husband. So I also often say that love and marriage make me stay. And then after I finished my master's degree, I found a full-time job as an English lecturer at a university here in Pittsburgh. And then I have been in the job for about 10 years now. And my position also takes me to many different places in the world to meet students and to meet colleagues and partners. So that's what I mean by education takes me places.
Wow, that's great. It sounds like that you have worked really hard on a good education. Could you tell us a little bit about what the benefits are for getting a degree from an English-speaking university?
So when I was a student in Vietnam, I'm from Vietnam originally, by the way. When I was a student in Vietnam, I majored in English. And I was really motivated to learn about English speaking countries like the US and the UK and many other countries. And I was also fascinated by many international issues. So that's why I really wanted to study in an English speaking country. And I think if you major in English like me, then English is the main subject. But if you major in other subjects and you study them in English, then you know the subject matter and you know English, and that is a great benefit. You can use English to communicate with so many people all over the world. So I would say that is maybe one of the biggest benefits, right? You study your subject matter, but you also improve your English skills.
Yeah, that's great. I heard you mention that you were very motivated to learn English. Where did your motivation come from? and how did you keep it sustained?
Mm. When I first learned English, I had a really good teacher. Because apart from teaching grammar and vocabulary, she also engaged us in many activities like doing plays or watching movies or singing. So I think that was my first motivation. I just fell in love with English. But after I studied really hard and I started to feel that I succeeded in my study, I loved it even more, and I really wanted to master it. And gradually, I came across many interesting materials in English, like the I Have a Dream speech or movies in English. And it was just fascinating to me. So I would say that motivation may come from your own experience. If you find things that are interesting to you and you keep doing those things, then you may be able to keep your motivation going.
Yeah, wow, that's great. That's very exciting. And I'm sure that during this process where you have worked hard and studied so much over the years, there were some times where you felt challenged or not like you wanted to go forward. And you probably see this among students too. What academic challenges do you often see that international students struggle with or face when they try to study in an English speaking context?
Mm. I think many students, when they come to the US, because I work in the US, when they come to the US to study, they find that there's just so much homework. So there's a lot of work to do. And these days, there are so many other things that are going on. So I would say probably time management is an important skill. You need to keep doing your work and you need to arrange the time. But also when you face difficulty, then you need to be able to seek some help, right? So that you can move forward. And the good thing about US education is that there are a lot of services at university that you can make use of. So my advice generally is to seek help and to talk to people, to ask questions, and to organize yourself. And you can even seek help with time management.
Sure, sure. And so that's great advice. Did you dislike having homework or did you find that it was helpful? I've heard some students say they feel like some homework is busy work and other homework is helpful. What was your experience?
Okay, that's a good question because I can only think of myself as a student when I was in graduate school, right? I had so much to read, but reading is important because there's just so much knowledge about the subject. And actually, the more I read, the clearer things were for me. So it was actually helpful. At first, I felt like I was lost. There's just so much to learn, and I don't know how ideas were connected. But the more I knew, the better I felt. So I would say there are a lot of assignments that were just helpful. And when I was in my doctoral program, there was a lot of work too, and I had to write really long papers. But that is just a very necessary part of being an academic and being a teacher here in the US. So I thought the homework was helpful for me, but I can
Yeah.
understand that some homework may just be busy work.
Sure. Well, that's great. I'm so happy your experience is that way. And I think mindset probably plays a big part in that too. For people who want to learn and feel motivated, they see even homework that may feel somewhat relevant or somewhat irrelevant. Still, they work hard because of their dream they want to attain. Excellent. So, in your work here in the States as well, you work with international students quite a lot. How about cultural challenges of living in the US? Are there cultural challenges that you've seen other students face or even yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So when you talk about challenges, actually, Jerry already mentioned academic challenges, but then there are cultural challenges, social challenges as well. And I think the social and cultural challenges are related in the sense that there are just so many things that are so different from what you are used to in your home country. So even the little thing of taking the bus is different, or you may have to be more independent because nobody is going to cook for you. or making friends is difficult. So those are some of the cultural challenges that I can think about. And there are a lot of good things about studying abroad, but there are a lot of obstacles too. And sometimes international students feel lonely. They feel isolated because they don't have so many opportunities to interact with other people. So my advice to you is that don't take it for granted that people are going to come and talk to you. You're going to have to make efforts. You're going to have to go to activities. You're going to have to be persistent even in making friends. You're not going to make friends by just talking to someone once. It has to be over a period of time. So those are some of the cultural challenges that I can think about.
Those are some really good points. I too have seen students struggle with a culture that's so individualistic here, and those are great points to share about making the step to go out and make friends, and that's really good advice.
Yeah, but the price is that many students actually feel so much prouder because they can do so many things on their own. And one benefit of studying abroad is really to be more independent.
Right, right. That's excellent. Good advice. Um, so we talked a little bit about academic challenges and cultural challenges and touched on social challenges as well. More specifically in the acquisition of learning English as a second language, what are the struggles and obstacles, challenges that students often face that you could give a piece of advice about?
So I actually did research in this topic. I and another professor did a research project in challenges and strategies that international students have. And we focused more on the different skills. So what I can tell you is that students find reading the least difficult.
Oh,
They find listening and writing the most difficult. Actually, writing is more difficult.
okay.
And speaking is mixed. They have mixed reactions towards speaking. Sometimes they feel good about speaking when they can feel the success. And sometimes they feel embarrassed or ashamed about their speaking abilities when they cannot understand people or people cannot understand them. And writing and listening are difficult. For me personally, I strongly believe in just using the language, right? You need to find more opportunities to practice those skills, not just doing exercises, but using the skills in authentic ways in order to improve. And let's just say, speaking as an example, I just believe that you need to go out there and talk to people, participate in activities, read things that are interesting to you, listen regularly. So it's not a huge piece of advice, but it's just very simple in the sense that you need to do those things every day or every week to improve.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And so, in that research, can you tell me a little bit more about who the people were involved in the research? Were they studying in an English-speaking country, or were they still in their home country and facing some of the same challenges?
Yeah, so the students actually were nursing students who came to the US to do a master's of science in nursing. So that's why you can imagine that writing was difficult for them. Absolutely. Because in a graduate program, usually writing is challenging. So yeah, the students came to the US to do their master's in nursing.
Great, that's great. So many students who are here in the States working on, they struggle with writing. That would certainly make sense. And there were, different issues with speaking. But if they really are proactive, there are opportunities. Do you have any advice for students who are still in their home country and working hard to perhaps get a test score in IELTS or TOEFL, or don't have the same opportunities to speak in their home country? How would you recommend that they work on improving their English in that situation?
Yeah, I can see that there may be a fewer opportunities for students from other countries. But the good thing is that I think you have a lot of, you have access to a lot of materials these days, right? At least in terms of listening, there's just so many videos that you can watch, movies that you can watch TV shows, maybe even on Netflix. But in terms of speaking, I understand that it may be difficult to find opportunities. So my advice is to maybe organize a study group or look at your community to see if there are groups that you can join. And actually, for me, knowing the lack of opportunities, I sometimes organize conversation hours for students to participate in. So later on, if you're interested, I'm happy to invite you to some of those hours. The US Embassy, maybe in your city, may have activities that you can join. Toastmasters International may be an organization that you can join as well. So maybe you need to create the opportunities for yourselves.
That's great. That's excellent advice. Being proactive and making the opportunities is so good. Yeah, wow. So we have students who are studying in English-speaking countries. We also have students who are preparing for studying in English-speaking countries, such as here in the States. Any additional advice you might give for students who are seeking to get an international education?
So yes, of course, the better your English is, the easier it is for you when you are in an English-speaking country. But it's not just the kind of English in an IELTS exam. I would encourage you to really read the news, watch TV shows that may help you to master the kind of language that is spoken every day. So improving your English, but not just for tests, right? But also maybe learn a few skills that help you to be more independent. Learn to cook. I think it will come handy when you come to study in another country or to the US.
Yeah, great advice. Great advice. Well, thanks so much for sharing these points. And I think these are so helpful for everyone who's watching. Before we finish, though, I'd like to hear just a little bit more from you about learning opportunities that you are working with and how students, if they are interested in following you on YouTube or checking out the online work that you're doing, how could they participate and find out more?
Yeah, so there are a few opportunities that you can join. I'm starting a YouTube channel as well, and maybe Jerry can share it in the description later.
Absolutely.
And you can subscribe to it if you're interested. But like I mentioned, I also organize conversation hours, and I would love to have students from different countries. And sometimes I do invite US students to participate in these hours. I am trying to also match English learners with volunteers here in the US. So later on, if there are opportunities, I welcome different applications. And I have classes too. So if you feel like you want to study online with me, I have IELTS courses, and I also have courses for younger kids. So keep in touch. And if you find the opportunity suitable for you, I would love to share the opportunity with you. Oh, one more thing I haven't mentioned, but I have a book here, and right now there's an e-copy. So I and other professors wrote a book about studying in English, strategies for success in higher education. The book has a lot of advice on what you can do to prepare to study in an English-speaking country.
So there you have it. What did you learn from our conversation today? I encourage you to be inspired by her story and to take the advice that she has shared in many of those answers. You too can reach your goal if you are motivated and work really hard. If you want to know more about Dr. Linh Phung, please check out her Eduling International Academy website and her YouTube channel. You can find all this information in the description below. She has many resources and can encourage you in your English learning journey. Well, I hope this interview with Dr. Linh Phung was helpful for you and that you have been inspired to keep working hard at improving your English. If you have a question or comment, please write that down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You should check out these resources too. I have many other resources on this channel to help you improve English. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.